It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. I love Mike Cohn. There, I said it. How you doing, Mike? Didn't mean to catch you off guard there, but I'll tell you what, every single week I get this email from you, and it's just more and more awesome, and I love to share some of your insights, and I appreciate that you allow us to republish some of your emails in the form of a podcast. I think that's pretty incredible that we think so much alike. I said to one of my friends the other day, I said, I think we're brothers from another mother. But it's just one of those things we're probably close in age and we're probably close in stature and size. And it's just, we have more in common than we don't have in common. So I just thought it was pretty neat that that called this out. But you sent an email over and it's a daily scrum, not a daily status report. And I'll tell you what, the first thing I did was just clap. I was like, oh, this is good. Right. So I'm just going to read straight from here. And of course I'll chime in. So here we go. So whether or not you are a fan of Star Trek, you've likely heard of the captain of the USS Enterprise asking some form of this question: engineering, status report, or Spock, status report. It's such a common trope that Season 2, Episode 9 of Star Trek Brave New Worlds, Subspace Rhapsody, features an iconic scene where the crew has encountered something that is making them all sing their status reports. On a ship, even a spaceship, status reports are a quick and efficient way to check that all systems are running as expected or to report problems. On waterfall software projects, status reports often were an effective but often tedious way for a manager to update their Gantt chart to reflect the progress or lack thereof for each plan element. Okay, let's pause there for a second. What I can tell you is this is spot on. I've been to enough daily scrums where they sound like status reports. And Henry, what are you doing today? And what did you do yesterday? And do you have any impediments? And for whatever reason, the Scrum Master feels like they need to put on their bedazzled microphone and their sunglasses and their glitter jacket. Hey, welcome to Daily Scrum. We're so glad you could be here today. So, Jonathan, tell me, what did you work on yesterday? And tell me, what are you working on today? And tell me, do you have any impediments? Our next guest is Susan. Oh my goodness. Nobody wants to be in that meeting, right? I mean, what seemed like or felt like it was an effective way to do things back in the day, it's just not the same. And if you're doing this in Agile, shame on you. If your Scrum Master saying more than 8 to 10 words in a daily Scrum, unless it's absolutely necessary, shame on them. This is supposed to be a meeting for the team. And I think if we treat it as such, we are going to get better results. Let's see where Mike takes us. Unfortunately, the idea of status reports is so embedded in our psyches that many people on Agile teams treat the daily Scrum as a time to give a status report to the Scrum Master. The daily Scrum is meant to be a synchronization meeting for the whole team, not a status report solely for the benefit of a Scrum Master or product owner. So how did we end up here? Okay, I know the answer, but let's see what he says. I suspect some people missed the message that a daily Scrum is an inspect and adapt activity for the team. And I wonder if the 3 traditional questions at a daily Scrum are to blame as well. The template: what did you do yesterday? What do you do today? Any blockers? It sounds like a robotic status report that Spock would give. Spot on. The answer is the 3 questions. Those 3 questions, now, Mike, when I took the class from Ken, he had a modified version of those 3 questions back in circa 2003. Oh, I just aged myself, didn't I? But yeah, he had a modified set of those questions. And it was more focused on accountability than it was, status. And the other thing was nobody asked the questions. These are the questions you were expected to answer. And I think between those 2, I had a few aha moments, right? So let's see where you take this. You say there's 2 ways to bring sync back to your daily Scrum. So let's see what it is. 1. Well, I shouldn't say 1. Want to break your team out of the status report mindset? Try these 2 tips. 1. Now I can say it. Eliminate the 3 questions. And experiment with structures that work for your team. At your next retrospective, tell the team that you want to dispose of the 3 questions and why. Remind them of the purpose of the daily Scrum, to inspect and adapt the team's progress, and that the goal is to make each daily Scrum about syncing up work rather than reporting a status, all while staying within a 15-minute time box. I take it a step further, Mike. I challenge the team to do 30 seconds per person, not to exceed 15 minutes. 30 seconds is plenty of time for someone to talk. And that is what I've seen really help. So then you can invite the team to come up with experiments to try. Like maybe we're going to rattle through. So one example, maybe we're going to rattle through, and instead of just going person by person, we'll just jump from one backlog item that's in progress to the next, and whoever is working on it can tell us what's going on, right? Second, for one sprint, try to avoid eye contact with anyone giving an update during the daily scrum, especially if you're doing them in person. Making eye contact is human nature. When we speak, we make eye contact with someone. Many teams, especially those new to Scrum, will naturally look at the Scrum Master when speaking rather than each other. So the goal here is to help them focus on each other. By not making eye contact with someone when giving an update, Scrum Masters can signal that the speaker should be talking to the rest of the team rather than just directly to the Scrum Master. I've even had times, Mike, where I've turned completely around in a daily Scrum. So as a Scrum Master, I've gone in and said, let's get started and kick things off. And then I'll let the team do their report. And if I feel like someone's staring through me, if I feel like they're looking into my soul, or I feel the fire of their eyes burning a hole through me, I've turned around and put my back to the team. I've even walked out of the room. And sometimes that causes a little bit of a disruption. But what I can tell you is that one day disruption is worth them understanding and realizing what happened and why I did it, right? So if your daily scrums are so dull that the team is silently begging to be beamed up by Scotty, you're not alone. Bringing a collaborative spirit back to your daily scrums is one way that you can help yourself and your team succeed with Agile. Mike, spot on and quite timely. I hear a lot of teams and a lot of organizations are trying to revamp, rehash, or figure out better and more effective ways to do their stand-up. So this is just perfect timing, better than anything. So that's going to do it for this episode. I hope that you learned a lot. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at agiledad.com. That's the email. We would love to hear from you. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Thanks, Mike. Until next time, do take care. Bye now.